three activities around living, that is transformation, contribution, legacy. And I said transformation happens as an individual. We gave a definition for living. Living is the active expression of existence that is evidenced by transformation, contribution, and legacy that should lead to fulfillment. So, and I said, I want you to live this year. If you're going to live this year, you're going to begin first by looking at the individual, you as a person, as a human being. Okay? All of your life, you would live for transformation, contribution, and legacy. Now, in the area of transformation, it's about your change in form. Like I said, transformation is transforming, that is going to the next form. And so, what I want you to do with this class is to identify where you left the active work of transformation. Otherwise, where are you with your transformation? What form are you in, and what's the next form for you? So the first thing we're going to look at in under transformation is making money. Mr. Wise, thank you. Yes, going to the next form. Financially, if you follow your financial form, you'll find that you began from the point, and it's not just finance, it's resource. That is your relationship with things you own, material things, your material life. It will begin with, you started out as a baby wearing clothes that you didn't even know where they came from. Clothes were bought before you came out of the womb. And from that age, you know what it means to be clothed. Up until a teenager, till an adult. At one stage, you begin to learn how to identify the clothes you like to wear and to be able to raise funds to buy them. Raise funds to buy them. You begin to have a dress sense. That's part of transforming. But the part I want to identify in that is resources. At what stage did you begin to have your own money? So if you are going to transform and gain fulfillment, you're going to have to focus on earning. You're going to need to start generating income. Many times as an individual, remember we're dealing with the individual now. As an individual, you may not realize, well, this part is easy to realize, that majority of the problem in your life is just coming from your financial deformity. In other words, your form, your financial form needs to go to the next. So if you knew what it means to be a student and parents sent you money for upkeep and all of that, life is going to happen. I said you stay in a stage for a while and then you go to the next stage. When you get to that next stage, you begin to realize that you need money. You need to know how they generate money like electricity. That it needs to be generated. You've got to earn. And while this is not a money-making class, the point of showing you that the individual has a basic necessary need to earn. So earning, your financial life, your material life, the acquisition and accumulation of things is one important part of your life. It's one important part of your life. Then, and that doesn't end, okay? I'm showing you these 5 parts of the individual that continues to operate consistently and continually go to the next form. That's what we call active expression of existence. That's what we call living, okay? So you need to generate income. What I want you to do is this. Please join the Jesus Lovers Club. As I go through the 5 areas, I want you to put in the comments or in the club. I'm suggesting the club so I can see it. You can put it in the comments now. I'm going to see it as well. I want you to note for yourself the aspect where you feel you need to move to the next form. The aspect where you feel that in your stage of growth, 2025, right now, this is the part of your form that needs to that needs to move. This is the area where you require a transformation so that you can have a plan that is transformation focused. For example, there are people who have come into 2025 and we're in February already and they're not working on their transformation. In other words, they're not changing that which is due for change. So financially, you need to earn. If you're already earning, you know that, see, I have a business, I'm seeing money, but my problem is I don't know what is happening to the money after it comes in. Like, if that is the problem you're having, then there is a need to move to the next form, which is saving. I don't want to go through all those forms in this class because it will be too much to cover. What I'm giving you here is a roadmap. What this class will do is that it will give you questions. It will help you identify the blank spaces. And once you find the blank spaces, you can say, how do I fill this part? How do I fill this part? The conversation can go on from there. Join the Jesus Lovers Club. By the way, we have the Premium Club. Now, the reason we have a Premium Club is not because there are things I want to teach them that I don't want to teach the General Club. No. The difference between the Premium Club and the General Club is execution, is doing. The hearers and the doers. When it comes to doing, you may want to be accountable. Maybe you don't want that, it's fine. But you want to account. I meet with the Premium Club twice every week. And the conversations is around, like this conversation, we're going to have it. So how are you doing? What's the area of transformation you're focused on? It's work. That's not teaching. So if the things we're sharing now is getting your attention, you feel like I want to be a part of that rigorous weekly back and forth workshop, join the Premium Club. When this broadcast is over, I'm going to announce, put the link and all of the information in the Jesus Lovers Club. Please check the description for the Jesus Lovers Club and just join the club. So your financial life needs to move to the next level. Some challenges and difficulties we experience are coming from a dilapidated financial life. The more you grow, the more money you will need. So maybe you're not aware. Every time you celebrate happy birthday, you need more money. Your life is you're going to take care of yourself, you're going to take care of others. The older you get, the more money you need. Plus that, the older you get, the more things are getting expensive, economic fluctuations, inflations, and all of that. The only solution to your financial life is more money. There must be an increase in earning. There must be a way to earn more, and then eventually a way to earn without working. So your financial life. The second part of the transforming the individual is your physical life. That is your physical form, your physical body. You see this physical body that you have. You were not always this age. When you were a baby, your parents had enough sense to know the kind of food they could not give you. They didn't give you eba to swallow when you were a day old. They had enough sense to know that your physical form had not gotten to that stage. Now that happens in the early stage when you just get born, and then you get to your prime, and then the older you get, that begins to happen again. Meaning that in your youth, your teenagehood, is when we all have this sense of do as I like. The older you get, you can't do as you like. You have to see the responsibility for your physical formation is given back to you. You have to listen to your body to know. See, just because your friend is drinking 3 bottles of Coca-Cola every day does not mean you will do the same thing and survive. Know two people have the same physical body. You have to listen to your body. You have to supply to your body what it needs. You have to supply it if it's lacking something specific. You have to do the work of supplying it. Somewhere the responsibility is handed over to you. At one stage, nobody asks you if you have eaten. Nobody asks you if you have slept. You are expected to handle your physical formation. You are supposed to know when your stomach is becoming big and what you're going to do about it, and do something about it. The form you eventually take is the form you choose. Somebody said something very inspiring. How did she put it? She said, if you're not, yes, anything you are not changing, you are choosing. Powerful, right? If you're not doing anything to change it, it's because you chose it. If you don't like it, you have to do something to change it. Otherwise, not to do anything to change it is to select it, is to choose it. So that's your physical form. Then the third part is your emotional. So you need to build wealth, and you need to go through the different forms of building that. Wealth is not built in a day. You're going to build it through a lifetime. So one of your lifetime outcomes is that I'm expecting to get to the end of my life and look back, and I transform through the years to a wealthy individual. That is supposed to happen. Now, today I'm supposed to look at myself and ask myself, what stage am I in my financial transformation? Because I need to ask myself, what's the last form? What do I want it to be like? When do I want that to begin to be the experience? How do I get there? If I ask you a question, how do you become rich? How does a person become rich? You are going to have answers. Maybe that's part of the problem. This generation we have never seen a generation that has so much answers. Everybody has an answer. Some people give answers that they have never used. Everybody has a blog. Everybody is teaching somewhere. Everybody is teaching something, and they cannot give you a life story that is corresponding to what they are teaching. So, when it comes to emotional, you got to build a family. At the end, you want to look back and you find that you are in the company of a woman who remembers the journey with you. You share memory with. Some people, at the end of their lives, there is a woman. This woman does not know the child that is here. This child does not know this woman. This woman is the fox. The husband turns and says, do you remember? And he realizes it's not this one. Who was there that time? Could it be the second or the third or the first? That's not my picture of a final outcome. So, part of that journey, you're going to find that girl, or you're going to find that guy. Someone you're going to join hands with to build a family. So, the individual is transforming across these 5 areas. I've given you 3. Financially, it's transforming. Physically, it's transforming. The house, part of physical is the house he is staying in. That will also need to change. Your entire physical experience, transforming. But the most important of that is your health. And then your emotional experience, transforming. From being by yourself to finding a girl or finding that guy that you feel that together we are that two that is better than one, and we have common lifetime outcomes. We are going to go through common transformations. We want to land in the same space, the same place. And then you're going to build that family. I remember 2015, the Spirit of God said to me, marry now. You're not going to marry now, don't tell me again. Anyways, number 4, transforming the individual. Apart from your finance, apart from your health, apart from your family, you're going to transform your mind. You see where I started from? It's getting more serious. You see, money, when I said money, it gets your attention because money seems to be, no, let me tell you, if you arrive the end and you look back and money is all you arrive with, you're not going to have fulfillment, which is the emotion of living well done. It's fulfillment. You're not going to be fulfilled. You're going to need these 5 aspects. And the 4th one is your mind. You got to expose yourself. You have to build competence. You've got to become, you need to find that thing that came with you that you are good at. Every one of us, every human being has something that they can become an expert at. Let me put it this way. If you don't discover who you are, what you can do, and spend your whole life being the best at it, you're going to find yourself living. See, every other thing will not be possible, by the way. Every other thing is not going to be possible. Sometimes the difficulty we are experiencing financially is the competence we lack in anything specific. Like, you started out going to school. There was a stage in your life where if you moved your leg, your parents will clap. He can move leg, he can move leg. For many people, they grew to the point where nobody was clapping anymore. They're supposed to be, by now, the world should be sharing. See, it doesn't matter when you are hearing me, you've got to look at how much years you have left, and then you've got to live. David already said it. He said the years of a man is 70 by reason of strength, 80. He's talking about your best years, your strongest years. If you like live 120, that's your business. He's talking about your productive years, is 0 to 70. So if you're listening to me right now, take the age you are, minus 70 from it, and that's how much lifetime you have left. All things being equal, knowing that there is no guarantee that you have all of that time. Therefore, there must be the prioritizing of today. If today was all I have, what will I be achieving it with? Which part of my metamorphosis comes first? That concept of priority is the reason why out of these 4, I've given you 4. I said the transformation of your financial life, the transformation of your physical life. Some people are going to get to a stage and they will not be able to walk anymore. Because the way they are living now, some of them will not be able to see anymore. Because the way they are living now is compromising the capacity of their physical eyes to perform as long as it should. I saw somebody who was doing a welding job. I don't know whether he thinks it is skill when he's using his bare eyes to do that thing. And then in another stage, where the physical form is supposed to be metamorphosing, is unable to handle the transition and they run into health problems. Many people have the worst old age because all of the liabilities of all the poor decisions they made goes to pile up in the end. So your physical life, building that family, building competence, training yourself to be good at something, and then building conviction. Somewhere you decide who you are going to be, what you believe. Out of that place will come your originality. What's originality? Originality has to do with the word origin. Where do you think you came from? If when you say I am son of the soil, you meant it, that you came from that community and that soil, something is wrong with you. Because it means we can trace your origin to a dead end. Jesus said to them, I came down from heaven. They could not accept it. Why would they accept it? They know his mom is a typical Nazarene. He was born in Bethlehem. Then, see, maybe as he was talking, there was the midwife that delivered him is standing there. How is it not lying? How is it that Jesus is not lying when he said he came down from heaven? So that's the kind of thing they feel like living is a very powerful man, but it's a bit like. So they left him. Until one of those days when he took Peter, James, and John to the mountain and had a conversation with Moses and Elijah, and a voice is speaking from heaven. Peter, James, and John could not believe it. The man is telling the truth. He came down from heaven. Question: how can someone come down from heaven and come out of the womb? That's how people arrive from heaven. The womb is the courier service. The woman delivers the baby. But what they are producing for you is your physical body. What the woman provides you is your physical body, not the person who is going to live in that apartment. If your mother provided you an apartment, that's why I said part of your transformation is the preservation of this apartment. What the Bible refers to as your physical earthly tabernacle. It's an apartment formed and produced by your parents. That's why it looks like them. But the person, when the child drew breath, when breath came into your nostrils, the person that came in came down from heaven. That's the reason why when this physical body drops on the ground, they say he breathed his last breath. That breath is called spirit. That person is gone. It's done with the body and it's gone. What did he come to do? He came to live. Living is active expression of existence. He came to demonstrate existence in the land of the living for a period of time called lifetime, after which you're done. So while you are here, still alive and breathing and being able to follow a live webinar video, you need to know how to monitor, how to transform your life as an individual. And I said, these are the 5 aspects I've given you. Number 1 is your walk with God, your spiritual life, which is your conviction, the things you believe. I believe I came down from heaven, and I'm not joking about it. I see Christians who come to church, the Bible is read. It doesn't mean any, I don't know what they're listening to. It doesn't mean anything to them. Everything in the book is real, is literal. They mean it. It's important. Build your conviction. It will guide how to transform in the area of competence. It will guide you on how to transform in the area of your family that you should build, the kind of woman you should partner with. It will guide those choices. Because in Christianity, as Jesus lovers, we didn't just get a book, we got a person. You got a person of the Holy Spirit to take the journey of transformation through earth, the journey of living in this land of the living, to take that journey with you. So that's the individual. That's the individual. See, that's the part where you say, I am just a human like you. I believe I'm competent at something. I have a family. I have my health and my exercise routines and all of that. I have my financial life, my businesses. Which of these 5 areas needs to be your primary focus for 2025? Which of these 5 areas is significant to your transformation this year? For some of you, if you don't crack the code of your business life this year, you will suffer next year. This is the year. I told many of you in the Premium Club as we're preparing, this year, make money. Don't allow family put that subject behind. Don't say it's competent. Don't say it's church. There's no excuse. You must transform your life as an individual this year. Now, going forward to the influence. What many people don't realize is, if you build the individual, you will realize certain limitations of the individual. One of them being that the individual can only be in one place at a time. So, how do I serve more people? How do I build influence? How do I become great? Everything I just explained to you about the individual does not make him great. Makes him transform, helps him transform. To be great, you have to contribute. So, see, your financial life helps you do well. This is how you do well. That's how you enjoy living. These 5 areas I explained, they help you do well. Now I'm talking about taking your existence beyond your personal fulfillment to contribution. Which means transforming others with your transformation. Think about what I am doing right now. What is this activity, this organizing this live webinar and all I spend to organize this twice a week and every other thing I do weekly to do this? How does that help me? Which part of that does that help? What part of my transformation is this? So let's get into the influence part. The same way you have 5 areas for the individual, you have 5 areas for influence. Let me say something more about influence. If you write a book today, as you're there, you write a book today, the reason that book will sell is influence. This book will not sell because you have money. No. Maybe if you have a lot of money, you can pay people to market the book. But I'm saying people don't buy the book because you have a lot of money. And even if they buy the book, they don't read and are transformed because you have a lot of money. People don't see. My health does nothing for you except that if I'm your husband, you are happy. I'm your father, you are happy, I'm well. So living is the active expression of existence that is demonstrated in transformation as an individual and then contribution as an influence, as an influencer. Or should I use the right word is as a leader. Therefore, to build influence is to build a voice. How do I do that? I said there are 5 things to look at here. Number 1, we'll talk about exposure. Exposure. Once you have competence as an individual, something you are good at, something you know about very well, knowledge or skill. To build influence is number 1, you've got to expose yourself to that thing. I'll use another word, enjoy that thing. You're going to enjoy that thing. Let's say that thing for you is cooking. Then you're going to enjoy eating. You're going to expose yourself to the benefits of other people, other cooks. You can say you're a musician and you don't know the different genre of music and what they call them. It means you're not exposed to your domain, to your field. Your competence brings you into a field. To build influence is to help people, is to be of use to many people. Now, today in our world, you have people who have influence for a lot of negative things. Someone is influential because they show up half naked on their platform. Who are the people following them? They are all of those people who are conforming like the world wants them to conform. But because my platform is to address and equip Jesus lovers, you should know that you are the one I'm talking to. Those of us who believe in Jesus, who know the things we cannot do for influence, but don't know what we can do for influence. Many times, for Jesus lovers, we get a lot of cannot. The Christian should not. The Jesus lover should not. The Christian should not. We don't get a lot of what the Christian should do. I said, number one, exposure. You want to build influence, exposure. If you're a musician, listen to music. If you're into food, eat food. Go, if there are great places that sell food, try them out. Know what's going on. Expose yourself to the influence of others. And I'm talking about other people who are in the direction of your transformation. You can say that I want to from A go to B, and your exposure is to people who are going from G to H. All right. The second thing you want to do apart from exposure, so you get what I mean by exposure. The second thing you want to do there is connect. You've got to meet and integrate and collaborate and know the players in the field. See, connecting is important because everything on earth moves through people. Money moves through people. Information moves through people. If you are a football player, get into the field and meet football players. How many football players are your friends? How many football coaches are your friends? How many referees contacts do you have? You want to build influence? Get into the field. Expose yourself to the influence. Connect with the other influencers. Meet people in the domain. So this year, for example, if as I'm talking to you, you feel like, you know what, I think the individual is fine. I'm in that stage where I want to focus on the influence, the leader, the voice. I want to build somebody, a copy of myself that can be in more than one place at the same time. Do you know that when you take a device and you record a message in 2025 and you put it on your YouTube channel, that while you are sleeping, your influence is talking to someone? That's how you can be in more than one place at the same time. So that the man can go back to the family in the evening while the influence is still out there working. If you don't build influence, it means you will only be where you are part time, and your lifetime is not enough to do that. Your lifetime is not enough to do that. I see some people, you make air. Maybe you're very good at making air. People are coming from everywhere to you. You want to kill the man. You want to kill the individual. Why? Because the individual can only make a particular number of air per time, per day. There's a limit to what you can do by yourself in a day. And how many days do you suppose you have in your lifetime that you plan to sit here? See, we have grown up. Our parents lived a different kind of life. You see somebody who discovered certain secrets, trade secrets or something, and they think the idea is to hide it and to be special by being the only one. So what they ended up doing is building the individual to be very competent. But they don't realize how many billion people are on this earth. And that even if the whole street came to you, two things will happen. If you are that good, you are going to destroy the individual by being too good. And everybody cannot have a bit of that individual. So you will deny the rest of the world this value and sit down in these small streets and serve these few people who can come here. No matter how much you're collecting, it's a waste. You can demonstrate that you exist better than this. It means the individual is good, but what you lack is the influence. You have to build the influence. To build the influence, apart from sitting down here and doing it, you say, I'm very good at making shoes, and you sit in this shop and you make shoes. Oh, I'm very good at making bags. You sit here and you make bags. Or what else? I'm very good at baking cakes, and you bake cakes. Understand that this thing you are doing is going to stress the individual. When are you going to have time to go to vacation with your family? When are you going to have time to enjoy the money you're making? You're not going to have time if you keep being good, but you keep performing as an individual. You've got to build influence. How do I build influence? Number one, exposure. Don't sit down here making shoes. Go and meet somebody and say, make shoes for me. Experience what is happening with others that are making shoes. And then suddenly you realize the context of your competence begins to expand. Expose. Know what's going on in the shoemaking industry. If you're into cooking, know what's going on in the city. Who's cooking the best what in this city? How are they serving their food? What are the places that what are they called? Do you understand? Experience it. Do you know what intercontinental dishes are? Have you ever tasted them? If they call the name, would you know what it is? If you taste it, would you know if it tastes good? Exposure. How many other coaches do you know? How many of their platforms have you paid to enter just to see how they admit people, how they train them, how they account for them, what their schedule is like? What exposure? Exposure. You've got to find ways to expose yourself as a way of building your influence. And I said the second thing after exposure is to connect. That is, to actively build a network of people in that domain, whether they are the leaders, whether they are the followers, whether they are the, it doesn't matter if you're, whether those are make food, whether those are cook food, whether those are eat food, you need to get into that domain. Connect. If you hear that there's a conference happening in Lagos and it concerns your domain, save money, travel to Lagos. We're talking about building influence. You want to be in Nigeria and be getting it done in countries around the world. You can't do that sitting in front of your shop. Now, as I'm talking now, you may suddenly be feeling like, when was the last time I traveled for a conference? Yes, those are the other things that follows building influence beyond building the individual. So you suddenly will begin to feel like, if I sit down here doing this work, I will not go anywhere. I told you the story of many years of Pastor Chris, when he said he had the message and he felt like he was going to go door to door preaching it. He went door to door to the point until the individual became tired. Then he said to himself, if I keep going like this, I will die before I will even cross Nigeria. So he decided to get a full friends connect. A few friends came together. You go into this street, I'll go into this street. They did that until they realized that that too will not work. Which is the third part we'll talk about, that the influence was also not enough. But let's finish with the influence. What about time? Oh man, this time is going. So, connect. Number 3, study. Study, research, investigate. You want to know everything they need to know in terms of theory. I'm talking theory. Don't just say, I bake cake. If brought you into the kitchen and I said, I'm going to bake, you're going to stand at the entrance, and all you're going to do is bake this cake through me with your mouth. Are you going to be able to say, take the scapular? I don't know if there's anything like scapular inside kitchen. Take the this, take the that. When you call the name, I say, what is that? Say, that's the big round thing behind you. Take it. Turn on the gas, put it at so degrees. Which part is so degrees? Just about this angle. Can you bake with your mouth? Do you know enough of what you are doing to be able to do it if you have to do it only with your mouth? That requires you to know the theory of the subject. The theory of the subject. And for that to happen, it's more than watching video tutorials. It's also reading, getting familiar with the words, the terminologies, the jargons, the acronyms that you meet and what they represent actually. Many years ago, when I was running a studio, one of the our senior producers in the city came to my studio. I was so excited to have him, and I was saying something about the keyboard, and I said I created this musical instrument digital interface a few days ago. I noticed I lost him, and because he was senior, he didn't want to show that he did not know what I just said. What I said was MIDI, the new MIDI cable, but MIDI stood for musical instrument digital interface. But they've been using it for so long, everybody knows it. But once I spoke the complete word, it was lost. That is what we call developing expertise. Expertise is in knowledge. Competence is in action. Expertise is in knowledge. Competence is in action. If your competence is here, you know how to bake very well. But once they bring microphone and say, can you explain what we're doing? Say, are they mix the flour? Everything is wrong in what you just said. They don't mix it. They need it. It is not flour, it's flour. Everything is just wrong. It means competence is here, expertise is on the bottom. What do we call mastery? Mastery is when both expertise and competence is at extreme highs. That's a master. He can do it intuitively. He can communicate it intuitively. All right. So I said, for the influence, participate, enjoy, expose yourself. Number 2, connect with and collaborate with partners in the field. And you can't find them if you don't mingle. You have to integrate. You have to attend events. You have to show up there with the idea of meeting people. Right? Then I say study, research, pick a topic, look into it. Ask yourself, what's the history of baking? Who was the first baker? How did it come about? What are the stories? Why is it called baking? Just ask certain questions and just keep getting into the details. And then serve. Serve is the actual do it. It's practice. But serve people. Don't do the cake you bake for yourself is nice until you bake cake for someone. Serve people. And when you serve people, get feedback. Ask them, was it good? Was it good to your tasting? What do you think I can do to improve it? After a while, you will know that there are 3 different kinds of customers. You have the very sweet, you have the average and the middle, and you can ask somebody, are you the guy that likes your cake very sweet? Middle, you say, no, I like middle, and you know what to do. In this, a person is perfect. Why they say it's perfect? Because you have come through several iterations. And so, even the influence is transforming. You are transforming now from an individual to a leader. And then teach. Communicate. Train. Let me tell you, that's the only way you will bake cake beyond yourself. The cake you are capable of baking is one. You can use 2 days, or depending on the kind of cake. You can use a whole 24 hours to bake one cake. Yet, you can record that entire process, teaching every step, and put that as a course. And that course will continue to train long after while you are sleeping. In other words, that's how you duplicate yourself. That's how you can be in more than one place at the same time. And as long as that course is accurate and has expert information and has competence in it, it will continue to serve. That's the influence. Being able. Now, the third part, which I will run through even more faster because of my time, is building the institution. Listen, when God created man, he said to man to be fruitful. Then he said to the man to multiply. I want you to think about, what does it take for the man to be fruitful? You can be fruitful by yourself. It means to be productive. It means to be able to bake the cake. But to multiply, you're going to need the seed and the womb. So to produce another human being, you need the womb of a woman and the seed of a man. For you to multiply, you're going to need a seed and a system, which is the womb. A womb that takes a seed and continues to reproduce. What does that mean? The institution is a womb for your seed. If you don't build an institution, you're going to serve people and you're going to do great until your lifetime runs out. And then there will be nothing going on long after you're gone. Legacy is through systems. For example, today we have a lot of people making money on YouTube. But do you know that the only reason that's possible is because you take a good seed, which is a good video, good content, and then you plug it into a system, which is YouTube. That system was provided by somebody. Somebody created a system that can take a seed, a video. Videos don't make people millionaires. People have had videos long that they don't become millionaires. There are videos in your phone that are capable of making you a millionaire in dollars that are sitting there in your phone. And I'm serious. I'm talking about even maybe a video of you and your kids playing that you have. But just because you've not put that seed into a womb, it's sitting there in your phone as ordinary content. The things that happen in your business place from morning to evening are interesting enough to be another source of income if you will convert them into a video and put them in the system. So don't think that it is content that is generating money. No, it is content as seed plugged into a system like a womb. That is what is working. Meaning that I will ask you the same thing. For your cake business, where is the institution? As long as you are building cake as Mama Rukewe, it's one thing. But when you build a system, maybe a company, an organization, where you can that will eventually employ other people. Let me take a simple example, is the bank. Do you know that Access Bank, as is there, is owned by people, but you don't see them in the bank. What you see when you go to the bank are people carrying out the service that they started. They wanted to manage money for people, but they didn't just go to say, I will hold your money. There are people still doing that, working from house to house, called collectors. That's fine if that's what you're doing, but are you doing it in a system? Will it continue to be done if you drop dead today? Why the reason we all trust the banks is that we know that the death of the manager will not affect my money. If anybody in that institution runs out of lifetime today, I will resume tomorrow and things will continue. That's what we call legacy. It means operations can go on without me. For that to happen, a system, an institution. Now, I've told you how to transform the man. I have told you how to contribute what? Through influence. By building a personal brand. Not to contribute as a mother, but to contribute as a public figure. Create Separate your influence, your life as an influencer, as a leader, as a public figure from your private life with your family. When I come back home, I am not Pastor Darling. I am Daddy. I have Pastor Darling. Pastor Darling continues to speak on the internet. Pastor Darling shows up. There are places where I come and I know I'm invited. They are not asking for Daddy Kingston. They are asking for Pastor Darling. I show up there, I deliver as Pastor Darling, and I return home. Evening is coming. You better have home to return to. Those of you who are jumping around, you think that you are an influence. You are an individual before you are an influence. You are an individual before you are an institution. I tell people you must grow from your teenage, you grow to an adult, and then from your adult, you don't just grow to old age, you grow to a system. You become an institution. Meta will outlive Mark Zuckerberg. That's the institution behind the man and the influence. So, I've told you the 5 things the individual needs. I've told you the 5 things, okay? The 5 things that you should expose yourself, connect yourself, research yourself, listen, serve, and then teach. These 5 things are going on for influence as influence activities. While you are transforming the man, you are contributing as an influence, then you are immortalizing. Well, another word is legacize as an institution. So the man, for me, is Andafa Darling. I am the son of Andafa, the son of Mrs. Eunice. I have sisters, I have siblings, I have a wife, that's a man. I earn money. I take care of my physical body. I love my wife, my family. I'm competent as a teacher. I have my faith in Jesus Christ and my assignment which I am pursuing in this world. That's the man. That's who I close to in the evening. Then I have Pastor Darling. He has a page on Facebook. Pastor Darling is the person speaking to you now. When I'm done, I will close all of the camera and go to the room and say, hey, what's up? And carry Kingston on my head. That's the man. That's the individual. This is the influence. That's the reason why long after I cut the camera, there will be people, Pastor Darling will continue to talk to people on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. He will continue to do the work. And thanks for systems like YouTube, he will be doing it long after the individual's lifetime is over, as long as Jesus tarries. Then the King's Convoy is the institution. The King's Convoy is the institution. The Jesus Lovers Club is a part of that institution. My wife is a parenting coach. That's her competence. The institution is the Golden Child Parenting Institute, and that's a part of the umbrella organization, the King's Convoy. The things I'm sharing with you are things I do. You see, that's the work I provide in the Premium Club. It's a work of implementation, not understanding, implementation. All right, so the 5 aspects for the man is number 1, production. For the institution is production. Production is the creation of value. So let's say I'm a baker. The system needs to have a baking system. How new value is created. I can't get into all of that. Just write them down. Our time is up. Production. For example, if you own a shop and you call it so superstore, that can be an institution. It's not an institution because you gave it a name. It's an institution because you set up its systems to run that way. And there are 5 systems it needs to have. A production system. So if you say you run a small shop, how do I convert it into a proper system that can continue to run while I'm not there, so that the man can go and rest and the institution can continue to do it? How do I do that? Number 1, you need to set up a production system. What does that mean? If normally you are the one that goes to the market when you run out of inventory, you go to the market and buy and you put it, stop that. For each product, have a clear supplier. Let's just assume it's a shop that sells bread. Question, where do you get your bread from? Is it possible you can make arrangement with them and to say, deliver me this number of bread every week? Or you have a sales girl and you say, go to so place and pick up our bread. But the payment and everything is done automatically via transfer. She just goes to pick it up every week. You tell them, I want to be buying this number every week, so I'm going to pay you maybe for the month, and we just come and pick up the bread. Once you do that, on the end of the month, your manager will make all the payments. On a weekly basis, your staff just go there, they just pick bread. They just go there, they just pick bread. But you have been able to turn that process into a system. But that's your production. So I don't know how that will apply for, depending on your use case, but understand that first there is a production system. What ensures that value continually is created. Number two is marketing system. That's what converts value to attention. In other words, how do I get people to know what I am doing? It's called marketing. You need a marketing system. Number three, sales. How do I convert every attention we get into money? If somebody walks into my shop, I don't focus on telling them about my product. I focus on how many they want to buy. That's sales. How do I ensure sales can continue even if I'm not there? That's a system. Think of a system like an engine. You have a production engine. Or think of, if engine is still stressing your mind, think of generator like a production generator. And then a marketing generator. The way the generator works for most of us in this part of the world, you know, you put in your diesel, everything is working, you pull. It begins with manual energy. You're going to have to be the one to start the system. You're going to start it, but it will pick up. Once it picks up, you can go into your house and do everything. The electricity is supplied because the generator is running. So you need a production generator for the institution. You need a marketing generator for the institution. You need a sales generator for the institution. You need a value delivery, a delivery. And delivery is not talking about taking the thing to somebody's house. Every time somebody comes and your shop is open, you are delivering. Every time somebody comes and says, do you have bread? And you say yes. It means that the system that ensures your inventory does not get to zero before you go to buy is part of delivery. It's called inventory management, customer satisfaction. All of these are the things you do in delivery system. Then you have resource, which is the management of resources, management of money, management of people, management of equipment, management of time. All of that falls under the resource generator, the resource system, the resource engine. Once you can put these 5 engines in place and the thing is running, you can step out and it will be running. That's an institution. That's the reason why Michael Jackson's YouTube channel is still releasing new videos long after he is gone. How? Because even though the YouTube channel exists and it has videos there, there's a system that manages the YouTube channel, and it's a system. So his children will never lack because that generator keeps producing. The institution, the man's lifetime is over, but production is going on. So this has been a long and full class. Usually what I do is I put the training here knowing that a lot of the Premium Club members and Jesus Lovers Club members who listen to it and have any questions have access. This is not that kind of YouTube video you watch and you just go. No, you can join the community. My personal number is in the Jesus Lovers group. You can just chat me up. We really can talk. I'm not one influencer somewhere that you have to read their book. I'm very accessible. Use the link, join the Jesus Lovers Club. And then if you want to be part of my accountability circle, people who are joining in a convoy, who are doing it together, you need to subscribe for the Premium Club. The link is going to, it's not expensive, interestingly. The Premium Club is 3,000 naira monthly. Can you imagine that? Which means 9,000 naira for 3 months. And that's the minimum. We have 3 months, 6 months, and 1 year. Yes, because we don't want, 1 month is not going to do anything for you. You stay in a place for a minimum of 3 months before you know if it's of use to you or not. So we don't want somebody to come in and say, I want to stay 1 week. That's useless. So you can, if you want to, if you feel like this 2025, I really don't want it to happen to me. I want that back to back, every Tuesday, every Friday, every Tuesday, every Friday. We sit again, and these things we're talking about, you're hearing how this person is implementing it, how far they have gone. This person just created their channel, or this person just created this, or this person is setting up, this person is registering for this. You are in that environment. Suddenly you will be having questions you didn't used to have. You'll be running into clarifications you did not have. That's the value of the Premium Club. I really encourage everyone to be a part of Premium Club, but I'm aware that not everybody needs that. But whichever way, please join the Jesus Sabbath Club. If you have not subscribed, you are listening to this, please subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button, and click on the bell so that you're notified every time we come live like this or post a video. In the absence of any comment that I will need to respond to, if there was a question, I would love to respond, but there's none for now. If you come listening to this, you have a question, you can leave it in the comments, or you can join the Jesus Sabbath Club and put any your questions there anytime. I would like to round this up with a word of prayer for you. Father, in the name of Jesus, I pray for everyone who is listening to this. They are listening, Lord, because in their heart there's a witness that they need to transform. They need to live. The path of their lives needs to move forward. I ask in the name of Jesus that you help them through this message to identify the missing spaces, to identify the questions that needs to be answered, and that you grant them answers in their hearts. Lead them in the way that they should go. In the name of the Lord Jesus. Thank you, righteous Father. In Jesus' name, amen. Thanks, guys.